We're gonna be safe and sound tonight.
Hello, hello. So today we're talking about creative destruction, which is a beautiful part of capitalism. It allows for the total implosion of huge industries and social structures because we have discovered more efficient ways of doing things. We've discovered things that can be done at scale. So this is a big one here. This is what humans were tied to for thousands of years, for so long. The old plow and oxen. And this was our way of doing things. This is how we sustained ourselves. And honestly, if you look at it, it's quite better than what most communists and comms do, right? Digging through the soil with their bare hands, planting like tomato seeds and what have you. Cucumbers, right? Cucumbers are always a big popular one. Anyway, there's a much better way of doing things, right? You have the oxen pull your plow, and then your plow turns your soil, and then you just drop the seeds on the into the ground, and then you water everything, irrigate it. Anyway, moving on, horse and carriage. This is a good example, right? I mean, not too fast. The horse shits everywhere, and you need a huge amount of grass. So this one, right, looks familiar. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but you have to change the oil all the time. You run out of oil. It's really not that bright. Just very inefficient. Not effective. Blacksmithing. If you want to look at something that's awesome, look up steam hammers. They're on YouTube. They're fantastic. They're extremely metal in the most literal sense, literal and figuratively. You might recognize this guy. Also, a huge improvement over the telegram, obviously. This is more recent. We're getting more recent here, right? With the taxi, arcades. All of these are dead. They still exist in a vintage way, but they're not able to generate revenue anymore because they can't compete. Now, here we're getting more relevant to arcology. This is about to be outdated. It's not outdated yet, but any day now. These are nice skyscrapers too, right? They look really nice, don't they? As far as skyscrapers go. But they are soon to be outdated in probably 12 months. Sorry, guys. Should have thought outside the box a little bit more. Another example, soon to be outdated. Actually, I think, I don't know, did COVID finally put GDP to rest? Is it dead now? I hope it's dead. Whoever came up with this is fucking dumb. Like, honestly. How stupid. It's just inflation. That's all it is. It's just, I've mentioned this in previous videos, but when you pay rent, when you pay tax, when you get paid by the government for your fake job, all GDP. That's all GDP. So, yeah, our GDP right now, I don't think they measure it anymore, but it's probably imploded over the last few years. And good riddance. Good riddance to it. I really don't care. What I care about is, the price of gas, the price of food, the price of rent. I don't give a fuck what the GDP is. And you shouldn't either. It's gone. See ya. Next up, this is up for some serious creative destruction. And thank God we need a little bit of innovation in this sector. I will link in the video description a image album of democracy memes that I have stumbled across and or created, and it is really enlightening. Democracy, when you first hear it, when you get like a 5-minute elevator pitch, you're like, oh wow, yeah, that sounds really utopian. It sounds really beautiful. Like, I can't see any problems with that. But man, once you read some of these memes, and the memes just kind of pick apart the logic and the realities of democracy, of representative democracy. Direct democracy is a little bit better, but I still think it's dangerous. I really do think it's dangerous. And in the social contract, there is a slight focus on direct democracy as well as representative democracy, right? But the representative democracy is very limited, right? It's limited to specific scenarios. And it can't determine tax rates. That's the big one. Obviously, there's a huge conflict of interest with your representatives determining tax rates, correct? Like, that's like the biggest thing that the Constitution overlooked. Although the income tax is illegal, it's unconstitutional. So they didn't overlook it because it's strictly illegal, unconstitutional law. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little worried about the democracy in the social contract. I really am. And as far as the decision-making process goes for the build-out of the city, for immigration, for all these things, these decisions need to be made, right? They need to be made by someone, by a human being. And direct democracy making every single one of those decisions would be a clusterfuck. It would be terrible. I suppose with technology, you could allow that. You could write a social contract that allows a direct democracy for every single decision. But it would just get really sloppy, wouldn't it? It would get busy and it would get sloppy. And then on the other side of the spectrum, you could have more of a autocracy, more of a monarchy, and just have one person kind of run the whole city in as he pleases, as he sees fit. And then the residents could just look at the city from a distance, or they could, live there for a week, stay at a hotel, hit up a local concert, some bars, all that stuff, and then make a decision on if they want to live there, and make a decision on if it's a good fit for them. And in the future, in the panarchist future, you will have all three of those options available to you, guaranteed. And then some. There will be a whole spectrum. But I think I kind of chose the middle ground, right, for the first one. You have to choose right down the center, kind of like you're bowling. And go with a little bit of autocracy, a little bit of direct democracy, a little bit of representative democracy. So anyway, I digress strongly. Yes, this is getting some creative destruction as well. And this is the big reason why. This is why we need it. No offense to the good congressmen out there. No offense to the congressmen who are really kind of fulfilling their duties. But you are the minority. And the party politics and all of that is just... It's not good for the country. It's not good for the people. So this is going to get strongly disrupted. It is losing its 100% market share is what's happening. And rightfully so. Even if Ancapistan or the social contract, even if we get 2%, 3%, 5% market share, that's still a huge deal and very important. And last but not least, I mean, it hurts a little bit. It really does. But there's a great Brett Weinstein video that I watched recently from 2018, surprisingly enough, a year before I wrote The Social Contract. And he talks about a new constitution and talks about how This is really a prototype. This is a prototype that our founding fathers wrote. And it stood strongly for a very long time. It stood strongly until 1913 with the income tax and the central bank. Honestly, we could have survived if we did the income tax properly. I don't think it would have destroyed the country. But the Federal Reserve is a no-go. It's dead in the water. It is an abomination which needs to be destroyed. Andrew Jackson destroyed, I think that was the second central bank, wasn't it? There was a first one too. So this is our third one. We need to destroy the third one as soon as possible. Have the Federal Reserve print up, you know, a $20,000 stimulus check and then just shut the doors forever. It's done. It's over. You know, back the currency with silver. Honestly. Anyway, but yeah, it was just slowly shredded piece by piece with constitutional amendments that were rightfully passed and were very difficult to pass. And it was done strategically so over time. It was shredded strategically. And, you know, Thomas Jefferson, if you're out there, if you're listening to this video, God bless you, man. But, you know, a piece of paper, words on a piece of paper, cannot defend themselves from a coordinated assault of the entire legislature. So I don't know. I think there's a lesson to be learned there, isn't there? What really destroyed the U.S. Constitution was the amendments. So in essence, the Constitution itself destroyed the Constitution. The amendment process just chipped away at it ever so slowly. But yeah, so it's not really living up to the requirements of the 21st century. It's not living up to the dynamic society that we all really need in order to move forward. We all really need a fluid, adjustable, choose your own adventure. This one size fits all globalist new world order, tyrannical matriarchy, tyrannical socialist matriarchy is shit. And I think everyone is becoming increasingly aware of that. And everyone is kind of slowly coming back to the idea of liberty and thinking, wait a second, if I pay off my mortgage and my taxes are pretty much zero, I'm really fucking free, aren't I? It's like, yeah, actually you are. That's where the word comes from, freedom. Right? So yeah, unfortunately, TJ, I think your document is really on its last leg, but that's okay. You know, we have to look back and say, even though it's over, I'm glad that it happened. Anyway, that's it. Thank you, and have a nice day. If you want to see a new and better world come to fruition, as I do, then like, share, and subscribe. You can find an incredible amount of math, knowledge, and 3D renders by clicking on the channel name. And remember, we need you to help spread this vision across the internet for all to see and become familiar with. Let us build this new world together.